Good evening. I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Newport News School Board for Tuesday, December 12th, 2023. On behalf of the members of the school board and Dr. Mitchell, I welcome each of you present this evening and those who are watching on TV and online. A quorum is present to transact the business of the school division. We will begin tonight's meeting with the invocation and pledge to the flag. Here to do our honors are two students from Hines Middle School, Janelle Taylor and Derek Andrus. First, we'll have Janelle come forward and deliver the invocation. And you can come and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Mitchell. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here this evening. My name is Janelle Taylor. I am a 7th grader at Hines Middle School. I ran track for the past 2 years. My favorite subject is history because as a young lady, I want to learn about my ancestors and what happened in the past. I want to be a doctor that helps with tumors because I want to be able to heal people like the doctors heal my mom. Now I would like to share a poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson entitled Meaning of Success. To earn the respect of intelligent people and to win the affection of children. To appreciate the beauty in nature and all that surrounds us. To seek out and nurture the best in others. To give the gift of yourself to others without the slightest thought of return. For it is in giving that we receive to have accomplished a task, whether it be a lost soul, healing a sick child, writing a book, or risking your life for a friend. To have celebrated and laughed with great joy and enthusiasm and sung with exultation. To have hope even in times of despair, for as long as you have hope, you have life. To love and be loved, to be understood and understand, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is meaning of success.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll have Derek Andrus come and lead us with the pledge, but tell us first a little bit about yourself.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Mitchell. Thank you for allowing me to be here this evening. My name is Derek Andrus, and I am an 8th grader at Hines Middle School. My favorite subjects are English and math because these are the two subjects that I excel in. I was on a track team for 2 years, and I'm currently on a cheer team for the past 2 years. And when I grow up, I would like to be a real estate agent because it's similar to entrepreneurship. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you very much. Well, we want to thank the families for sharing your students with us and giving us the honor to educate them in our school division. You make our meetings focused on what we're about, so thank you all for taking time to come. And as for you right there, we're going to have you come and do the pledge in a few years. Awesome. So let's see, family members, I'll have you stand, and if we have any of the school family members, we'll like to welcome you. Thanks again. The next item on tonight's agenda is school board recognition. So Dr. Mitchell, please join me at the podium.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of introducing this evening's School board recognitions. Ensuring that young people are financially literate is paramount to prepare them for future financial success. Our next recognition showcases the school division's continued success in this area. Working in Supportive Education, or WISE, is an educational organization dedicated to building financial literacy, fostering business and social entrepreneurship, and preparing students for college and the global workplace. The organization's financial literacy program provides high school students with financial education and the opportunity to become certified financially literate by successfully passing the WISE Financial Literacy Certification Test. Tonight, we're recognizing 9 career and technical education teachers who have been named WISE Gold Star Teachers for 22-23. They're so named because at least 93% of their students in at least one of their classes successfully pass the WISE Financial Literacy Test. They're present this evening to join us. Please join us in congratulating from Denby High School, Hope London. Ms. London? Also from Denby High School, Lisa McAllister. She's unable to join us. From Menchville High School, Stephanie Gwaltney. And Diane Cox. From Warwick High School, Reginald Neely. Mr. Neely. And also from Warwick High School, but unable to join us this evening, is Cherie Ficklin and Kimberly Grant. So we want to congratulate them as well. From Woodside High School, Tina Shorter. And rounding out this dedicated group of educators is Patricia Newman-Ricks, who led our summer school program and also serves as a teacher at Denby High School. And most of these ladies and gentlemen might seem familiar to you because they're multi-year winners. So we have to say congratulations for your continued success. We know you work very hard every day with our students, and we appreciate you making sure that they are certified financially literate. Our Virginia Standards of Learning for Economics and Personal Finance require instruction in economic concepts, economic reasoning, decision-making, and problem-solving. High school students have to meet a state requirement to complete a 1-credit economics and personal finance course prior to graduation. With the help of these dedicated educators, students are not only satisfying a graduation requirement, they're earning state and national certification. So again, congratulations to you and your students on this notable achievement. One more round of applause, please. Okay, take a picture. Their way back to their seats, I want to acknowledge family members and school family members that may be present. If they have any family members, would you please stand? And I'd also like to acknowledge, thank you for coming. And I'd also like to acknowledge our school administrators, Dr. Adia Struthers from Denby. I know we have some from Mentrill, Lisa Egoff from Mentrill, Dr. Kelly Mason from Warwick, Dr. Mary Hardesty from Woodside High School, our division-wide career and technical education supervisor, Tonette Outland, and also Christy Hopkins and Renata Bradshaw, our CTE instructional specialists. Would you all please stand? Thank you. Thank you, and again, congratulations. At this time, we're going to take a short break so that our honorees and their guests may leave if they choose to do so. You're always welcome to stay for the remainder of the board meeting. At this time, our viewing audience will have opportunity to view this month's School Board Spotlight. So we'll stand in recess for about 7 minutes. Thank you.
Do we play music?
Student success is built on a strong foundation of literacy. When children cannot read, they can't learn, making reading at an early age not only a goal, but a civil right for all students. In November, a lunch and literacy discussion was co-hosted by E3, Elevate Early Education, the City of Newport News Public Schools, and Newport News Public Library. At an Achievable Dream Middle and High School, an audience of elected officials, school and city leaders, educators, and invested community members heard from a panel that included NNPS Superintendent Dr. Michelle Mitchell and Greenwood Elementary Principal Ethel Francis, along with Virginia Superintendent of Public Instruction Dr. Lisa Coons and Director of the Newport News Public Library Anita Jennings. The discussion was moderated by Newport News Mayor Philip Jones and included segments of the documentary The Right to Read. The panel discussed the new Virginia Literacy Act, a bipartisan effort to improve early literacy outcomes for all Virginia students in kindergarten through 3rd grade. They shared how NNPS already uses state-approved reading programs, data to track individual student progress, and advanced teacher training to consistently improve reading scores. The panel also focused on reading as a community effort, with Newport News Public Library giving every student a library card to utilize additional resources. And by partnering with parents to reduce chronic school absenteeism, improve communication, and provide reading resources for families, Newport News Public Schools is embracing a multifaceted approach to equip every young student with the tools necessary for success in school and in life. For General Stanford Elementary, located on Fort Eustis, Veterans Day is a week-long celebration. The PTA worked with educators to decorate the hallways with patriotic displays and colorful student artwork. 3rd through 5th grade students involved in Blossom and Rise mentoring groups decorated paper leaves with kind words of appreciation for our veterans. These leaves help decorate a freedom tree to honor all who served. 4th and 5th grade students in Anchored for Life, a peer-to-peer club to support military-connected youth, created hand-drawn cards. The original cards were copied and duplicated so every preschool student at General Stanford could color the cards before mailing them to deployed service members. Near the end of the week, 4th and 5th grades combined their musical talents to present a tribute to veterans. Before the spirited performance, Principal Jennifer Harnish, who grew up in a military family, introduced the guest speaker, Newport News Mayor Philip Jones. Jones has a strong connection to the military. Both his parents served in the Air Force. Jones served in the Marine Corps and is currently in the Marine Corps Reserves. He thanked the veterans and families for their service and sacrifice. Music teacher Morgan Cassidy then led his talented students in a series of patriotic songs to thank the many veterans in attendance for their dedicated service. The military's Tradoc Rock Band also performed, creating an evening of celebration and thanks. Coast Guard Admiral turned CNU captain visited Riverside Elementary during one of his CNU community walks. Christopher Newport University's new president, William Kelly, is getting to know the neighborhoods and communities that surround the university through regular, organized walks. On his way to Riverside Elementary, the retired Rear Admiral was joined by CNU students, faculty, and staff, along with NNPS educators, city and state leaders, law enforcement, and other community members. The spirited procession was greeted by Riverside's own Boomin' Bears drumline. After the talented student performance, Riverside Principal Tim Edwards thanked the community leaders for their visit. President Kelly gifted the school with a cart full of sidewalk chalk to inspire creativity, just as the school inspires the future generation of citizens and leaders. For the second year, Sedgefield Elementary partnered with St. Andrew's Episcopal Church to feed students and families. Organized by professional school counselor Hakima Muhammad, this year's efforts doubled expectations by serving almost 200 meals. For over a month, St. Andrews collected frozen turkeys and food donations. These were combined with fresh and canned foods donated to Greenwood through other community partners. Students in the SCA, school staff, and church volunteers spent a Friday evening organizing the bountiful donations into boxes. On the Saturday morning before Thanksgiving, families were invited to drive through and pick up a box for a complete Thanksgiving meal. School staff, church members, and college mentors from Hampton University all worked together to bless each family. Additionally, 40 meals were delivered to families at their homes for a total of 190 meals served this Thanksgiving season. The Virginia School Boards Association recognizes November as Take Your Legislator to School Month. This is designed to develop closer relationships between public schools, local communities, and our elected officials, while encouraging further discussions about working together to meet funding needs for the success of all students. So Newport News Public Schools invited state legislators, their aides, local leaders, and members of the Newport News Education Foundation to Watkins Early Childhood Center to see firsthand the wonderful options available to our youngest students in preschool. Superintendent Dr. Michelle Mitchell welcomed the invited guests to Watkins, which is not only one of 4 preschool sites in Newport News, but also home to the Dual Language Immersion Program, where students spend their day learning in English and in Spanish. Elected officials and community leaders visited multiple classrooms to see these unique learning opportunities in action as students completed their morning routines in 2 languages and then rotated through learning centers. Legislators were welcome to talk with the students and receive unfiltered feedback from the 4-year-old scholars about the joys of learning at Watkins. By inviting influential leaders into our schools, Newport News Public Schools hopes to strengthen lines of communication with lawmakers to ultimately provide the best possible education for every student.
Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed watching our spotlight for this evening. I am going to move up our personnel actions to 1.5 on our agenda. So do we have a motion to present the personnel actions for the evening?
Yes, we do. Madam Chair, I move to approve the recommendation of the superintendent for Michelle Gunter for administrative assistant at Stony Run Elementary School.
Okay.
Second.
And do we have any conversation? All right, please call the roll.
Hunter.
4.
Alger. 4. Amon.
4.
Best. 4. Brown.
4.
Harris.
4.
Searles Law.
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Great. Thank you so much. And Dr. Mitchell, please introduce us.
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce Miss Michelle Gunter as the new administrative assistant at Stony Run Elementary School. And please stand. Miss Gunter has a Master of Education degree in educational leadership with a concentration that spans multiple grade levels from pre-K to 12th grade from Regent University. She currently works as an assistant principal at Southampton Elementary School with Richmond City Schools. She also has been an assistant principal with Franklin City Schools. She has been a teacher in Norfolk, Delaware, Northampton County, and more importantly, she has previously worked as a 4th and 5th grade lead teacher right here in Newport News, as well as a pre-kindergarten lead teacher. Welcome back to Newport News. We're excited that you came back home.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be back at Newport News where I belong. I'm never leaving again.
And if you have any family or friends that you'd like to acknowledge, please do so at this time.
I have my husband here, Vernon. I have my past colleagues, Dr. Stafford and Ms. Toulouse, and my daughter, Alyssa.
Thank you so much and welcome back home. Madam Chair, I also would like to take the opportunity to recognize 2 people that were approved last month but were unable to attend. I'd like to recognize Ms. Lisa Evans, Director of School Counseling. And Ms. Angela Siders, Executive Director of Elementary Schools. As I said, they were both appointed at the last board meeting. So thank you again for coming tonight. We're excited, Ms. Siders, that you are also back home in Newport News. And Ms. Evans, we're excited that you are joining us. So welcome to the Newport News family.
Yes, welcome. We're glad to have you with us.
And do either of you have anyone with you tonight that you would like to recognize?
Oh,
Her new
yes.
team.
Kids are taking their exams, so they'd rather be here than doing that, but that's their semester, and my husband's home under the weather a little bit. But yes, it's good to be back in Newport News. I'm a product of Newport News Public Schools, so I'm glad to be back home.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Evans.
Thank you. So during our regular meetings, we provide time for the public to address the school board. These opportunities are scheduled in the early part of our agenda and towards the end of the meeting. As advertised, citizens may submit comments via email up to 30 minutes prior to our meeting time to be included in the official meeting record. For those of you joining us in person, the board considers this an opportunity to listen to your comments. Please understand that we will consider your concerns. We ask that you comply with our 3-minute time limit. As you begin your comments, a green light will come on. A yellow light signals that you have 30 seconds remaining, and a red light and beep indicates your time is up. So in a moment, as your name is called, please come forward. I will take a very quick pause if our awardees would like to, our new hires would like to go and celebrate this evening. You're welcome to head out. Okay, I'm going to call in threes. I don't have quite that many cards, but it seems to work, and that way we know how we are prepared to come up. I have Reverend Natalie Chamberlain. I have Caitlin O'Brien and Vivian Reynolds.
Good evening to the school board and Dr. Mitchell. I'm Reverend Natalie Chamberlain, pastor of Hilton Christian Church, a congregation who welcomes and embraces people of all genders and gender identities. I'm a citizen and a resident of Newport News. I'm here to speak as pastor, one whose call is to care for those of my community. My job description probably sounds familiar. If I'm not mistaken, the description describes your jobs as well. I'm here to ask 2 things of you. First, remember that we do not live in a theocracy. There should be a separation of church and state. One congregation, no matter how large or influential, should have the right or ability to sway policy based on theology. Second, I ask that you do what you've been elected to do and actually support the educators and protect the students in your care. I've seen a lot of playing word games. Is it a policy or a procedure? Is the change substantive? At this point, who cares if it's a policy or procedure? The current set of guidelines is effectively the opposite of what was in place. I'd say that was a substantive change. They no longer protect anyone, but they protect parents' rights and the board's legal interests. I find it incredibly offensive to have a diverse group of citizens, including the two groups most affected by this policy, trans students and educators in Newport News schools, dismissed as irrelevant. The current policy, procedure, guidelines, or whatever you call them, do not protect trans students, plain and simple. Following the governor's guidelines does not protect you from moral and legal culpability if and when a trans student is injured or dies. History has taught us that you're responsible for doing the right thing even when you have been ordered to do otherwise. Oh God, I pray that no trans student is injured or dies before you do the right thing with this policy.
Caitlin O'Brien.
Hello, my name is Caitlin O'Brien, out of here in Newport News for many years. I'm reading remarks on behalf of another resident of Newport News, formerly of Gloucester County. His remarks read, "My name is Gavin Grimm, former ACLU plaintiff in Victor and Gavin Grimm versus Gloucester County School Board, the outcome of which cost the Gloucester County School Board $1.3 million in fees to the ACLU. The decision in this case was made in the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals after the Supreme Court declined to comment. It remains the law in Virginia that discrimination against transgender students is unlawful. There are no arguments not based in theology for which we have a separation between church and state in our nation. It is bigotry and lies. For example, you'll very commonly hear anti-trans hate mongers suggest that allowing trans youth the same access to school spaces that their peers enjoy will lead to a rash of crime where men will go into the women's restroom to commit assault. That argument is not supported by any available data or evidence after years of America and other countries having trans-affirming policies in place in their locations. It is also not supported by common sense, as potential bathroom assailants are not waiting around for loopholes, and crimes in the bathrooms are still crimes regardless of the purported justification. Indeed, if the school board's strongest argument is that they could not adequately protect the children with this policy, then they are either knowingly lying for a lazy excuse or openly admitting to incompetence. The bodies of our children are the business of families and doctors, not school policies. All available evidence clearly supporting trans-affirming policies as the best educational outcome for all students, with no correlating rise in risk to any other population. We can't make policy because we don't like or understand people, and we cannot make policies that single out individuals for their personal medical information. Regardless, this is a settled matter in the Fourth Circuit Court. It took 6 years to litigate my case. It was expensive and time-consuming for the school board. If you choose a policy that is blatantly in opposition to established Fourth Circuit precedent, you are choosing to open yourself up to long and expensive litigation that will not go in your favor before a court that has already had this question asked and answered. Your choice is already had. Your choice is to torment an at-risk minority group of students with physical and social exclusion, or to adopt a policy in accordance with the affirming model policies suggested across the Fourth Circuit and other states in this country. All of this hate and vitriol. Okay.
Thank you very much. Vivian Reynolds.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Mitchell. My name is Vivian Reynolds. I grew up in the city of Newport News. I went to Hilton School, to Riverside School, to Warwick Junior High School, and a graduate of Warwick High School. And I'm a retired teacher with over 3 decades of teaching. And I'm very concerned. I've emailed all of you twice. I've been out of town and have not been able to be here. But I'm very concerned about the diversity that exists in the country in which we live. We're not all alike. We don't all have the same religious faith. But we've got to be respectful and we've got to be kind, especially to children. I've watched over my years of teaching. You can see a child being bullied. But a child with this kind of a situation, it's not his or her fault. It's the way God created this person. And I think that we make a grave mistake when we don't show love and kindness and respect, that we have vitriol and we have people causing many of these children to commit suicide. They're alone and they're sad. Sometimes their families accept them and sometimes they don't. Coming to school was a joy for me as a child. As a teacher, it was a joy. If you can only imagine the pain and suffering some of these children go through. So I appeal to you to think about this. I read what has gone on and I read what the policy is now. But I would really plead and beg with you to think of the hearts of children, especially at this time of the year. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next 3 are Mary Voss, Dr. Ronald C., or maybe that's Lee, Dr. Ronald Lee, and Reverend Michael D. Burnett. Mary Voss?
Hello, good evening to the board and to Dr. Mitchell. I am reading a statement on behalf of the NNEA, the Newport News Education Association. The NNEA calls on the Newport News School Board to rescind its unnecessary implementation of Governor Youngkin's discriminatory model guidance that targets trans and non-binary students. Trans and LGBTQ+ youth are at significantly greater risk of homelessness and suicide than their peers due to discrimination and lack of acceptance. These students' already vulnerable situation is worsened when their preferred pronouns are not respected at school and when school employees are required to out them to unsupportive family members. Youngkin's guidance cruelly calls for both. These policies also undermine the relationships between teachers and staff and their students. The NNPS school board and administrative team have consistently emphasized the importance of building relationships with students, yet requiring teachers and staff to out their students will adversely affect these relationships. Schools should be a safe haven where all students can feel comfortable confiding in trusted adults. The following Virginia school districts have publicly announced that they will ignore Youngkin's model guidance because it does not comply with federal and state non-discrimination laws. Richmond Schools, Fairfax, Prince William, Arlington, Alexandria, and Falls Church. None of these school systems have faced lawsuits from Youngkin or from Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares for this choice. The following school systems also have not implemented Youngkin's anti-trans model policies without publicly announcing that they are ignoring it. Hampton Schools, Portsmouth Schools, Chesterfield, Henrico, and Loudoun. None of these school systems have faced lawsuits from Youngkin or Miyares either. This is not an exhaustive list, just what we could find through research. There's probably other school districts who are also ignoring the guidance. It is perplexing why NNPS is implementing Youngkin's discriminatory guidance when other large urban districts across the state are publicly rejecting the guidance for being discriminatory or simply ignoring it. Nearby Hampton City Public Schools is quite similar to Newport News Public Schools in demographic, size, and location. 13 News Now reports that in Hampton schools, quote, teachers are not required to share a student's gender identity with parents if the student is worried about their safety at home. The student will then be set up with a support plan. The school division and staff will follow whatever gender and pronouns the students prefer. In contrast to the Youngkin administration's empty threats, established case law in Grimm versus Gloucester County School Board shows that breaking federal and state non-discrimination law can make school boards vulnerable to costly lawsuits. In a case that reached the Supreme Court in 2021, Gloucester County had to pay $1.3 million in attorney's fees and court costs for discriminating against transgender student Gavin Grimm. Brianna Diaz of the Virginia ACLU noted in a press release, "We are horrified that VDOE opted to move forward with proposed model policies that at best invite and at worst require discrimination. She cites Virginia Code 22.123.3a that calls for evidence-based practices in compliance with applicable discrimination laws. These new policies fail both standards. Please rescind them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Dr. Lee?
I have a great deal of respect for all of you guys individually. Hello again, I'm Dr. Ronald Lee, and today I want to talk about data-driven decision making. Anyone know what p-hacking is? P-hacking is an unethical approach to data analysis by reanalyzing data over and over again to find statistical significance. Every person who has a doctorate degree knows what p-hacking is. P-hacking is an advanced concept. Even a basic understanding of statistical analysis, however, is often lost to well-meaning people and policymakers. Some people believe that if they can have 100 people make the same weak claim or show the same weak evidence, that somehow evidence becomes stronger. In reality, a lot of crap data just makes a bigger pile of crap data. Some people conflate normative, subjective, and objective truth. Normative truth is what a group agrees to be true. Subjective truth is what you think is true for your worldview. Objective truth is reality and can be tested and reproduced. Finding objective truth in the world is complicated. We didn't know what sources to look at, how data was collected and analyzed, and what the scientific consensus of overlapping fields of study are. Therefore, some organizations hire policy makers with doctoral degrees to help them make the right decision in a world of noise littered with motivated reasoning, misinformation, and disinformation. If factual data is less important for an organization, they can hire someone with a lot of experience, maybe even somebody that dabbles in politics a little bit. However, here is an example of evidence-based recommendation, which is supported by the objective truth, which emerged from the scientific consensus of overlapping fields. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends doctors screen transgender adolescents in the following way. Given the high risk for abuse by parents and other adults, providers should pay particular attention to parent-adolescent relationships when treating transgender adolescents. Because some families are rejecting of their child's gender identity, providers should assess gender identity privately without parents if possible. This approach will limit the chances that interactions with providers could increase family discord related to gender identity, which has the potential to exacerbate childhood abuse amongst transgender adolescents. What drives Newport News policies? Is it politics or a normative truth? It definitely isn't the objective truth. You hired a superintendent with an EDD to utilize their skills or to make your organization look more capable and professional while simply having this person alter policies to avoid a public vote. Dr. Mitchell is capable of data-driven decision-making. Obviously, this did not happen, or you ignored the objective data to benefit your politics, your religion, or your re-electability at the detriment of marginalized minorities. You have been informed that your policies create harm. Not acting on this information is unethical and shows the moral deficit of the board regarding the safety of children, which continues to contribute to the erosion of human rights. Individually, I respect you guys. As a board, those are my words.
Reverend Burnett. And then after that, we have Ash Chagon and Mark Bear.
Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Madam Superintendent, thank you again for this opportunity. I am Michael Burnett, local pastor. There's a bit of rhetoric I've heard getting kicked around this chamber over the last few months. Fortunately, not much tonight, but it's really been eating at me, and I can't not address it at this point. I've heard this phrase, God created male and female, nothing besides, nothing between. That, of course, comes from the first chapter of Genesis, in fact, some of the first lines of the Hebrew Bible. And it is ostensibly a faithful argument. It says right there, God created male and female, nothing else. But if we're going to use Genesis 1 to create policy decisions, and when we read about God dividing the creatures of the sea, the creatures of the land, and the birds of the air, hearing nothing about anything in between or besides, what are we to make of flightless birds or amphibians? When we hear about God dividing the darkness from the light, the day and the night, nothing besides, nothing between, are we to deny the beauty of a sunset or a sunrise? Are we as a city to stop scheduling things for dusk or dawn? Because nothing besides, nothing between, right? When we hear about God dividing the waters in the dry land, are we to ignore our wetlands, our estuaries, our marshes? Of course not. This is sort of a tongue-in-cheek conversation, but it points to some real truth. And that truth is that not everything can be sorted into strict binaries. In fact, the revelation, I would argue, in the Bible, the revelation of creation itself is that nature and God do not work in binaries. And that humanity, just like the remainder of creation, is best viewed as a kaleidoscopic rainbow, not as a clear-cut black and white. But these are theological and philosophical conversations. What matters to us here today, the most immediate lesson, is that maybe, just maybe, applying the scientific and cultural binaries of millennia ago isn't as useful as we would like to comfort ourselves that it is. Maybe the most useful thing, the most sensible thing, dare I say the most moral and the most faithful thing we can do is to make policy decisions based on data-driven evidence and the voices of those most directly impacted by them. There's one more big preacherly word I have for you tonight, and that word is repentance. It's a big, scary, churchy word, but it comes from a Greek word that just means to change your mind. To repent is to see something from a new perspective, to realize you might have been wrong, and to think about it differently moving forward. It's a course correction. And if I've learned one thing from my journey of faith, it's never too late to repent. So many of us here tonight are here to call this board to repentance. And that's not to make a judgment. It's just to say it's not too late to undo the ongoing harm that is being done. It's not too late to change your mind. I implore you, as a pastor, a parent, and a human being, to rescind the recent modifications to JBP. Thank you.
Thank you. Ash Chagnon.
Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you. I know I'm not dressed as formally as I was when I spoke last month. I came into town today, took a special trip from Newport News, away from my family during the holidays, to speak on this issue. That's how important it is to me. I come to you tonight in opposition to Governor Youngkin's model policies on transgender students. Last month when I addressed you, I asked you to have empathy and compassion. Today, I'm asking you to have courage. It has been 1 month since Governor Youngkin's policies were introduced in Newport News schools. 1 month of pain and suffering for young trans students in your care. I don't know how many of your students have been dealt irreversible trauma in the last month, or how many have been outed to abusive families against their will, but I don't need to. 1 is too many, and I can guarantee that there has been at least 1. That's why I'm here today, to ask you to do the courageous thing and stand up for the students that are marginalized and hurt by this policy. It's deplorable that I even have to be here to ask this of you, but here I am, here we are. I wish I could stand before you today and commend Dr. Mitchell on the excellent work she's doing for our STEM programs, or to talk about bus transport in Newport News and how to make it more effective and better connected between our schools. But I can't. Instead, I have to talk about the policies that are hurting some of the most vulnerable people in our community. The bitter truth is that no matter how much good work you do, if you are enabling a policy that condemns some of your students to trauma, abuse, and even suicide, you are not doing your jobs. You are failing in your duty of care, and you are betraying us. We put our trust in you as a community to take care of our children, and you are betraying that trust. I ask you to have the courage to end this. You have the power to do that tonight if you so choose. And failing that, I ask you to have the courage to say that you won't, to put your support out in the open and go on record saying that you want this to continue. I'm ashamed that my elected representatives will sit behind a veil of silence instead of taking a stand or taking accountability. And I'll be forced to assume that until you hold a vote on this matter, every single one of the members in this chamber is in support. And I'll remember that, and hundreds of voters like me will remember that, and we will not forgive you for your negligence. Thank you for your time.
Last is Mark Baer.
Sorry the way I'm dressed, but I work later hours because I put my child out of public school into private school. Just want to let y'all know that I don't know about all the other stuff, but what I know goes on in school is you can pull up passage fights and look up there's 15.5 million viewers on TikTok, on Instagram, everything else. There's why these kids have phones in school and allowed to have them out. They're elementary school kids, middle school kids. They don't need phones in school. They don't need to have them out. And I don't need to have my daughter going to a guidance counselor asking to transfer to another class, and everything you tell me is secret. No, you don't tell my daughter. That's not a professional word to tell my daughter. I don't take that very lightly. And you know, my son at BC Charles just got assaulted in the bathroom. Guess what they told me? The kid's going to be in school suspension because we know his home life. I don't care about his home life. I'm sorry. You know, I grew up in rough. My mom raised 4 kids by herself. I grew up and did what I had to do. I took my responsibilities. I did what I needed to do. But when we signed that conduct thing, it doesn't say we're going to put your home life in. No, everybody should get the same treatment. You know, if you do something wrong, you should all be, same treatment across the board. And, you know, my daughter, she's thriving at private school now, but I shouldn't have had to take her out. I'm like them. The people that left, they're glad to be back with Newport News Public Schools. I'm a product of Newport Public Schools. And I had great years here. But this is ridiculous. These kids, your metal detectors, I walked in through with this, my keys. You know, it doesn't detect it, and it can. I challenge your security people. I challenge them to give me every time they check those. They're supposed to be checked at least before every event or once a week for what you're looking for. I guarantee y'all don't have a piece of paper stating that you check them. I guarantee you. I challenge them, and I'll come back and eat my words if they can show me a piece of paper they check every week in school. That those open gate metal detectors. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any additional cards?
No, ma'am.
So thank you for your comments and thoughts this evening. We will now move on to Section 3, the consent agenda, which includes 3.01, minutes from the regular meeting, November 14, 2023, 3.02, minutes from the work session, November 14, 2023, 3.03, minutes from the special meeting, November 14, 2023. We also have 3.04, financial reports, including the revenue report for November 2023, the expense report for November 2023, as well as the child nutrition reports for November 2023. 3.05, personnel report. 3.06, budget transfer. At this time, can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hunter.
4.
Alger. 4. Amon. 4. Best. 4. Brown.
4.
Harris.
4.
Searles Law.
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is 4.01. Okay, 4.02. We moved 4.01. 2024 legislative priorities. May I have a motion to approve the 2024 legislative priorities?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the 2024 legislative priorities as presented.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hunter.
4.
Alger. 4. Amon. 4. Best. 4. Brown.
4.
Harris.
4.
Searles Law.
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We will now move on to Section 5, Reports and Information. We have 5.01, Take Your Legislator to School presentation. Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you very much. As you stated, we have several presentations tonight, and we are going to begin with Mr. Pat Finneran. He's going to come and share with you a little bit about Take Your Legislator to School. Thank you, Mr. Finneran.
Thank you, and good morning, Chairman Searles Law, Chair Best, members of the school board, Dr. Mitchell, and all those watching at home and here. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about this particular subject. Take Your Legislator to School Day is something that the school division has done for a number of years now as a way to invite our legislators and other elected officials, city council members, and some business folks into the school and see what we're doing in different ways. So it was a great day this year at Watkins Early Childhood Center, and just had a chance to show at this particular school legislators how our students begin that really strong foundation for learning at the earliest years. Let's see if so, as you can see from these examples, we have a nice welcome and greeting from our superintendent and our school board chairman as everybody came in, along with other board members. But I think the biggest hit was the nice welcome presentation that the students made to everybody. I think they were really the hit of the day. So
They were so cute.
Yeah, they were very, very, very cute. It's hard to argue with that. And I think, I wanted to mention, though, that we did have our instructional supervisors, Anna Marie Hanrahan and Susanna Bailey, who are not pictured here, they're pictured elsewhere, provided some really good context for the visit. And they provided an overview of the preschool, NNPS preschool program, and the dual language immersion program. And I just want to tell you a little bit about both of those programs as they provided to me. The preschool program is a free, full-day program available to 4-year-olds in Newport News. There's 41 classrooms spread across the city in 4 different schools. That's at Watkins, Denby ECC, Marshall ECC, and also at General Stanford Elementary. This school year, the program has 820 preschool students. And if you're interested, if there's anybody watching right now and would like to learn more about it or enroll their student, we'd love to have your application. And that process will begin in late February of this year. So stay tuned to this channel or the website for information. Now, the NNPS offers the preschool dual language immersion program, which is just what it says. It's taught in 2 languages at Denby ECC for the preschool part of it. In that program, students learn in each language for 50% of the day. And 50% of the students are native Spanish speakers, and 50% are native English speakers. And in doing this way, these students can actually be teachers themselves throughout the day. So the students can help each other with the languages that they're most fluent in. Newport News currently offers this dual language immersion program not only in pre-K, but all through 9th grade, and at Watkins, of course, Denby Early Childhood Center, Saunders Elementary School, Katherine Johnson Elementary School, Gildersleeve Middle School, and Mentrell High School. And it's a great way for our students to become bilingual during their school years. So shown on this slide are some of our dignitaries, elected officials, just engaging with the students. And they were actually able to talk with them, learn about what they're doing. Students were very responsive and gave some really good answers, just showing that they know what's going on with their day. Here we see Delegates Shelley Simons, Councilwoman Tina Vick, school board members Dr. Cherry Best and Douglas Brown, our Education Foundation Director Myra Legg was able to be there, and representatives from Delegate Marcia Price's, and Congressman Bobby Scott's office were also there to participate in the activities. In addition to showcasing these great programs, it also gave our legislators and city council members a chance to see where their investments begin in our school system and to see the faces of the children who will benefit from their support over the next 12 to 13 years. And it also gave us a chance to show how these students, as they move through their education, will need modern classrooms and libraries, up-to-date technology, great teachers, supportive staff, and a safe and secure learning environment. And that's where we got into some of the legislative priorities, and we talked a bit about those in this context. Students made some great handmade signs to present to all of our folks, and it was really a nice way for them to interact with some of our leaders in the community, and actually got to talk to them. And so what I'd like to do now is we have a quick about 1.5 minute video from WVEC, which is one of our great media partners, and they came out and did a story on this. So let's just take a quick look.
Case for several 4-year-olds at Watkins Early Childhood Center in Newport News. Local representatives stopped by to bring attention to an issue impacting educators and parents. New at 6, Emily Harrison gives us a look.
We are stars, yes indeed, stars at Watkins ECC.
It's all smiles for the students at Watkins Early Childhood Center. 4-year-olds welcomed local and state legislators into their classrooms, showing off not only their skills and friends, but their bilingual abilities, switching between English and Spanish.
We really wanted them to see up close and personal what we do with our earliest learners so that they have a vision of what we do so they can advocate for us.
A recent report by the Joint Legislative Audit and Review Commission found the majority of Virginia parents cannot afford childcare. It's why teachers say programs like this are so important, giving relief to parents and structure for young children.
Essentially, they're teaching each other and they're learning from each other. It's just, it's so inspiring to see.
Virginia State Delegate Shelley Simons joined Newport News City Council and school board members, meeting some of the city's youngest students in the program. She says she has a few ideas she would like to bring back to Richmond.
We've got 82 students. We need to expand that.
Students gave legislators handwritten cards thanking them for coming. Emily Harrison, 13 News Now.
The first students to go through the bilingual program at Watkins Early Childhood Center are now in the 9th grade, and they're set to graduate in 2027.
So we thank WVEC coming out and spending the morning with us and broadcasting this on their show. If you have any questions or comments that I can answer at this time, I'd be happy to, but thank you for allowing me this time to make the presentation.
Any questions, board members? On behalf of the board, I just want to thank you, Mr. Fennerin, for organizing it and using the team to help put our best foot forward for this event. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to 5.02, FY 24-25 new course proposal. I believe we have a presentation. Dr. Mitchell?
That is correct. We have Dr. Joanne Jones, Executive Director for Secondary Teaching and Learning. She is going to share with you 2 new course proposals and 1 revision. Thank you, Dr. Jones.
Good evening, Chair Searles-Law, Vice Chair Dr. Best, school board members, and Dr. Mitchell. This evening, I will share 2 course proposals and 1 revision for your review and approval for the 24-25 school year. For the 24-25 school year, we have 2 course proposals. The first one is International Languages, Cultures, and Relations, proposed by Susanna Bailey, the Instructional Supervisor of World Languages. The second new course proposal is Introduction to Social Work, proposed by Linda Askew, Supervisor of Student Support and Mental Health Care Services. We have 1 course revision, Music Technology, proposed by Katie Sheehan Smith, Instructional Supervisor of Visual and Performing Arts. International Languages, Cultures, and Relations is an interdisciplinary course that focuses on multiple languages, government, art, and history in regions across the world. In this course, students will develop an understanding of the role of language and culture in international relations. Students will also enhance communication and cultural competence across languages and cultures. They will also develop a global understanding of the forms of government, currency, and policy development. All resources, materials, including an international teacher, will be funded by the Department of Defense grant. This grant also supports our military-connected schools at Denby, Menchville, and Woodside High Schools. The second new course proposal is Introduction to Social Work. This course will foster an interest in the field of social work, introduce students to the history of social work, and increase knowledge of the human mind and behaviors. The purpose of providing this course is to increase the pipeline of students pursuing the field of social work and mental health services in school settings. This course is recommended for students in grades 11 and 12. And we are exploring opportunities for dual enrollment opportunities in grade 12. It is a year-long course, and the prerequisites are introduction to psychology or sociology. Resources, materials, and teachers for Introduction to Social Work will be funded by the Department of Education grant. In addition, the grant will pay for tuition reimbursement for Newport News Public School students interested in earning a bachelor's degree in social work. The Introduction to Social Work course is very similar to our Teachers for Tomorrow program, which encourages students to take courses in high school, earn bachelor's degrees or master's degrees, and then return to Newport News Public Schools to work in our schools. This course will be offered at all high schools. We have one course revision, Music Technology. This course is currently offered at Woodside High School as a general elective, non-magnet specific course. The current curriculum focuses on basic sound engineering, audio interface technology, and beginning level techniques of sound support. It is offered in grades 9 through 12. It is a year-long course, and it does not have any prerequisites. The new revision will expand the curriculum using digital audio workstation, mixed musical instruments, and digital interfaces using software for marketing and production. The revision is to have this course offered at all high schools in grades 9 through 12 and as a semester and a year-long course. In summary, tonight's presentation includes the proposal of two new courses, International Languages, Cultures, and Relations, and Introduction to Social Work. One course revision, Music Technology. Do you have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Brown.
Congratulations on the grants that will fund the International Relations course and the Social Work course. That being said, because they're grant funded, what is the long-term intentions once the grants run out? What's the long-term intentions for the courses?
Well, we will have an opportunity to reapply for the grants, and if the students are showing great interest in the course, then we would, of course, want to embed it in our current budget.
And what kinds of connections do we have for the students who are going to do these three courses? Clubs or activities that they can engage in to connect to these three courses to be feeders for the courses?
I'll take that one, Dr. Jones. So we do have a plan of having clubs after school that are based on the content, and I do know that the current social workers at Norfolk State are willing to do an after-school social work club to actually get the students involved in the community, involved in elementary schools, and working in community agencies or volunteering. So there is a mindset that we have of we will in fact have clubs and activities after school based on these courses.
And for the International Languages and Cultures, we actually have family activities that we actually engage the families in currently now with our dual immersion program, and with this opportunity we will engage families even more.
The last question is just about the college support students will be able to apply for this college support while they're in high school, or how is this awarded to know that they're going to get this reimbursement for pursuing a degree in social work?
We currently have an MOU with 2 universities, and so we already have that partnership with them for students who are interested in pursuing degrees in social work.
And those particular students will have the first opportunity when people apply. If they had already been in the coursework here in Newport News, then that kind of gives them extra credit, if you will, or extra points to be able to be accepted into those 2 universities.
Thank you.
Let's see, Dr. Best.
Oh, okay. Mine is regarding the music technology course. I'm kind of excited about that one. The revisions for that. I think I shared with you and Dr. Mitchell, I went to a Broadway play, and as I was leaving, I observed the young lady in the back, and she was working with computers and a keyboard, and she was just telling me all the amazing things. And I said, oh, this is a good profession. So I'm excited that our students are going to be exposed to that, because it was something I had never actually thought about. So I think that's really, really good.
Great.
Thank you.
Simon?
Yes, I just have one question. We kind of touched on this a bit, I think, in our earlier conversations. Some may be familiar with sort of your traditional international relations class that some students take in high school. So could you sort of explain sort of how this might differ from sort of your classic international relations class?
Well, because it will actually be an international teacher teaching the course, it will provide them with exposure to multiple languages and cultures, and actually being able to consider careers in international relations.
Other questions or comments by the board?
One thing I would just piggyback on this, because we have the 5 years, it might be interesting a few years in to the program to sort of compare the different classes and see if there are things we might want to pull into our traditional class that we've learned from this and vice versa to strengthen both of them.
Oh, one more question, Madam Chair, which is just around these electives versus other electives. What electives are these electives competing against in terms of students that we're going to lose from other electives, just in a broad sense?
Well, one of the things that we're doing with all of them, actually, well, 2 of them, is that they'll be offered as semester courses, which allows students to pair it up with another class. Sometimes students will take something in one semester and they have difficulty finding a course to pair it with, so it will actually give students more flexibility to offer 2 of these courses as semester courses.
Further questions? Okay. Dr. Mitchell is requesting that this course proposal be moved to a vote on the agenda as an action item this evening. So I think the first vote we need to take is, are we willing to entertain that vote? So, Madam Clerk, would you please call the, I guess we have to have a motion for that. Yep.
So, Madam Chair, I move the FY
There we go.
24-25 new course proposal to an action item.
Okay, and do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any further discussion on moving it? Okay, please call the roll.
Hunter.
4.
Alger. 4. Amon.
4.
Best.
4.
Brown.
4.
Harris.
4.
Searlswall.
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Great. We needed a unanimous vote to be able to move it to an action item. So that's half of the battle. The next is we actually need to take a vote on the now agenda item.
So, Madam Chair, I move to approve the FY 24-25 new course proposal as presented.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Hunter.
4.
Alger.
4.
Amon.
4.
Best.
4.
Brown.
4.
Harris.
4.
Searlswall.
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We will move to 5.03, Youth Development Update. I think we have a presentation on this.
We do. We have coming to us right now Ms. Bridget Adams, Director of Youth and Family Engagement. And I think that we will all find this very stimulating and exciting. And I think it will speak to Mr. Brown's question about clubs and activities. It will speak to the power of clubs and activities. So I'm kind of happy that he asked that question, because our students being engaged in after-school activities pays great dividends for our students. So, Ms. Adams.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairperson Searles Law, Vice Chair Dr. Best, members of the board, and Dr. Mitchell. In the past, our update has always been about youth development programming, but today I want to celebrate the evolution of youth development in Newport News Public Schools and demonstrate how YD supports the division's strategic goals and positive outcomes for our Newport News Public Schools students. Tonight, I'll review the youth development mission and vision and outline the youth development infrastructure that distinguishes us from other school divisions in the state. I'll share just a few examples of innovative programming and how youth development strategic partnerships are increasing the number of experiential learning opportunities for Newport News Public Schools students. One of the most important facets of positive youth development is intentionality, which is reflected in our mission and vision statements. The definition of positive youth development is embodied in our mission, which is to promote positive experiences, relationships, and environments for every Newport News Public Schools student, staff member, and family. This aligns with our vision, which is that every Newport News Public Schools student feels seen, heard, valued, loved, and affirmed. For 16 years, Newport News Public Schools has created space in its educational and organizational strategy for positive youth development. In 2007, the primary focus was on clubs and activities and how they could support asset development in youth, as opposed to focusing on deficits like negative behaviors. During the 2012-13 school year, the division established a youth development lead position, a dedicated staff member in each school to coordinate positive youth development efforts in grades K through 12. Yet for several years, the division did not have a common language around what positive youth development looked like in action. So in 2019, our department created the Newport News Public Schools Youth Development Model, a framework that serves as a North Star for those leading the work across our division. Since that time, we have increased division-wide implementation of positive youth development and are now recognized by other school divisions and organizations as leaders in youth development practice. Behind the Newport News Public Schools Youth Development Model's 8 key features are evidence-based strategies which are shared with school staff to help improve student experiences, relationships, and the entire school environment. You might ask how we know that the model is sound. Well, in 2020, we connected with the University of Virginia Youth Next Center to promote effective youth development, which consists of researchers who support youth development practitioners around the country. For about 18 months, they met with us bi-monthly at no charge, and coached us on effective practice, evaluated our infrastructure and model, and concluded that not only was our model evidence-based, but that they had not encountered any other school division in the state nor the country that had the infrastructure and intentional focus that Newport News Public Schools has on youth development. We continue to partner with Youth Next on a variety of other initiatives, and the Center Director is a member of our newly formed Youth Development Advisory Council. So what is this youth development infrastructure, and how does it benefit our schools, students, and the community? Newport News Public Schools has the only embedded network of dedicated staff members in each school, including our alternative schools and juvenile detention, who are centrally coordinated and charged with fulfilling the division's positive youth development goals. I should point out that only the 5 youth development team members its central office have full-time responsibility for youth development. All of the other positions hold primary roles as teachers, school counselors, media specialists, and other roles. For their leadership of youth development programming, most of them receive a stipend. So how does this infrastructure benefit our students, schools, and the community? The Journey 2025 strategic plan includes a student success goal, which has a measure, and this is a quote, to provide multiple opportunities for students to develop and grow through extracurricular activities. The infrastructure increases student access to empowerment activities that build skills and connects them to nurturing adults. It also helps us to provide the support needed to achieve fidelity in youth development practice across the division. Increased opportunities for youth leadership, service, and contribution empower student voice in Newport News Public Schools. Other benefits include an intentional daily focus on improving school culture and strengthening employee expertise in youth development practice. One of the greatest benefits to the community is that the infrastructure makes it easier for schools and community partners to collaborate and for our department to coordinate and evaluate school, community, and division level sponsored programs like our Blossom, Bloom, Flourish, and Rise empowerment and mentoring programs that are available to grades 3 through 12. Each program's curriculum is designed to build pro-social and other skills that students need for lifelong success. These initiatives, along with many others coordinated by our schools and community partners, promote student success as outlined in the district's strategic plan and helps to achieve the Newport News Public Schools profile of a learner who, in addition to being academically prepared, is also an emotionally intelligent, resilient, equity-minded, innovative, and reflective leader. Because of the intentional focus on student success in our schools, last year, 964 clubs, sports, and activities were available to students in grades K through 12 in Newport News Public Schools. You can compare this to any other neighboring school division of this size, and you won't find a comparable amount and diversity of opportunities for students. As our youth development teams find creative ways to increase access to programming, schools are seeing increases in student participation. We're not quite back to our pre-COVID participation rates, but definitely trending in the right direction. For example, middle and high school participation in 2022 and 2023 increased by 21%, with high schools showing the greatest increase since 2019. We should also note that average days of absence also decrease, which makes sense. Students are more likely to come to school when they have a sense of belonging and when they are able to contribute to their school community. Here we see the difference in student outcomes for Newport News Public Schools high school students based upon the number of activities in which they are involved. The first section shows results for students who have no involvement in clubs, sports, or activities, followed by those involved in at least 1, 2 or 3, 4 or 5, or more than 5 clubs, sports, or activities. You can see the number of average days of absence, the dark blue column, decreases significantly as student involvement increases, while the number of discipline incidents, the light blue column, drops slightly. Most notably, average grade point average, the green column, increased from 2.34 for students with no involvement to a high of 3.61 for students who are involved in more than 5 club sports or activities. Although there are many factors which contribute to achievement data, data is data. Here is a similar view of middle schools, illustrating absence and discipline incidents. A less significant decrease in average days of absence, but a decrease nevertheless. The number of incidents stay flat, behavior incidents stay flat. Middle school students do not have a GPA. We do plan, however, to examine other indicators of academic achievement for middle school students involved in clubs and activities. We have just begun to capture student involvement for elementary schools in Synergy, so we expect to have measurement data for them as well in the near future. Youth development efforts also support the student wellness, employee expertise, and enhanced partnership strategic goals. In 2022-2023, 1,605 students participated in Newport News Public Schools division-level youth development empowerment programs, including 414 students in specialized programming that I will highlight shortly. The Live Well Student Wellness Program promotes emotional, social, and physical well-being of students in each of our schools. In addition to 2 annual empowerment conferences, including the More Than a Princess Conference held for 500 students in November, and the Rise Male Empowerment Conference that will take place in February, students lead campaigns to promote kindness, inclusion, and a sense of belonging across the division, including Operation Kindness Week that is coming up in February, and Celebrate Me, a division-wide celebration of cultural heritage that will take place in early March. Our efforts to increase employee expertise in youth development theory and practice include monthly professional development for youth development leads, a youth development certification program that our friends at UVA helped us to develop, and our first ever youth development conference, Thrive, that was held in October. One of the reasons we have been able to accomplish what we have is because we have developed extraordinary relationships with community partners. This year, we established the first Newport News Public Schools Youth Development Advisory Council, which is made up of 20 business, government, educational, and nonprofit leaders in the region and beyond. Before I close, I just want to highlight 2 examples of innovative programming that are making a difference for our students. Newport News Public Schools My Brother's Keeper and My Sister's Keeper and Level Up are designed to engage youth in evidence-based prevention and intervention strategies and activities that develop and strengthen skills to include de-escalation, decision-making, and pro-social skills that promote positive life outcomes. Moreover, both programs increase youth access to nurturing adults and expand their circle of support. The program is funded by the Gun Violence Intervention Prevention, or GVIP, grant offered through the City of Newport News. Program participants experience a minimum of 180 minutes of monthly programming, focusing on positive mental health, skill building through extraordinary experiences, future orientation, positive self-image, coping strategies, accountability, and academic support. This is accomplished through a number of community collaborations, including some with fellow GVIP grantees. 2022-23 outcomes for the more than 250 My Brother's Keeper, My Sister's Keeper participants are highlighted here. 55% had improved attendance, 48% had fewer discipline incidents, and 62% achieved an increase in their GPA. The same is true for Level Up. 59% of students in grades 3 through 5 who participated in Level Up also had fewer discipline incidents. Another unique program is Emerging Leader Institute, which is designed to equip students with skills to think and act like global leaders. Last year, ELI members participated in highly specialized professional development to help prepare them for extraordinary experiences that they had, including one-on-one meetings with legislators at the state capitol, a specially designed experience with top leaders at NASA Langley Research, serving as YD Youth Development interns, and as of yesterday, delving into research as part of the University of Virginia Youth Participatory Action Research Project. This abbreviated list of partners who support our work and with whom we collaborate throughout the year increases the number of experiential learning opportunities that Newport News Public School students are able to have daily. We are truly grateful for them and their support of our youth development efforts. And I would be remiss if I didn't take a minute to say how grateful I am for the Youth Development Central Office team that's way there in the back of the room, but I'm going to ask them to stand because they work so hard every day to make all this possible. First, yes. Michael Nichols, who is our Youth Development Supervisor, Christina Buckingham, who is our Youth Development Special, and the newest member of our team, William Shackelford, who is also a Youth Development Specialist. So thank you. We're a small team, but we have the best job on the planet because we get to do some of the greatest work that I have ever experienced in my lifetime. Finally, I'd like to close by sharing our next steps. We will continue to focus on creating relationships with external partners that benefit our students and our families, creating highly effective mentoring opportunities for our students, and implementing evidence-based frameworks like relationship-centered schools will empower us to fulfill our mission of promoting positive relationships and experiences for all students. We will continue to measure the effectiveness of what we are doing and doing our best to equip our NNPS team with what they need to help students thrive through creative staff development opportunities. This concludes my presentation this evening, and I welcome any questions you may have. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Questions or comments?
Comment.
Ms. Hauser, did you have?
No, I just wanted to say congratulations, first of all, and thank you so much. When I attended the conference in November, it was outstanding, and it was outstanding to work with your team as well.
Thank you.
And I just want to share real quick, to see the girls, 500 students, and all of them eager to learn about leadership. That's what we need, right? A lot more leadership. It was just inspiring. So what you're doing here is quite unique. I want to say that. And I dare to say I'm not so sure if it's happening in surrounding districts to the level that I see here. And I can attest to that because I work and I mean, I've seen different districts operate, and you guys have it going. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yes, thank you
You're
so
very
much
welcome.
for caring for our
You
students.
are very welcome.
Okay. Did you want to say something?
I did.
Oh, go right ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you as well. I attended the conference on Friday night with the girls, and it was just energizing and amazing to see them so pumped up and eager to learn, and then to see the older ones, what they have developed into, like vice presidents at James Madison University. I remember when students like that started. But that a couple of weeks later, fast forward, I went to a Feeding 5,000 program at New Beach Grove Baptist Church, and two young ladies came up. They said, I just got to get in that program. I just got to get. And first, I didn't know what they were talking about, but they were talking about the Bloom Conference. Their friends had told them all about it, and so at Sedgefield, I gave them my word. I would try to see what I could do. So
I heard her.
Yeah, but they were there's so much excitement, so much positivity, and it's just a shining star for Newport News Public Schools. So I'd like to commend the department and keep up the good work. It's really something that benefits our students in our community.
Thank you. We appreciate the support. We really do.
You are more than welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Brown.
Just always very encouraged to hear about programs that make Newport News Public Schools a special place to be, that separate our division from others. And so I really appreciate the impactful work, and especially the results-driven, the data-driven results, where we're reducing chronic absenteeism and getting more kids involved in clubs, activities, and sports. It's very extremely positive.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
We're moving on to 5.04 attendance report, 5.05 membership report, and 5.06 construction report. Board members, you've received a copy of this report. Are there any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5.07, comments by the superintendent, Dr. Mitchell.
Good evening again, and thank you, Madam Chair. As Mr. Hunter says, there's great things happening in Newport News, so I will try to be brief, but we have a lot to talk about. Last week was Computer Science Education Week, and our students spent time coding as the school division launched NNPS codes. All students were encouraged to participate in at least 1 hour of coding activity during the week, whether it was at home or at school. Across the school division, students practiced their coding skills by programming robots and utilizing animation programs. So a big special thanks to our STEM instructional team and the instructional technology team for a great week of hands-on activities. I know that Pat Finneran came before you, our legislative liaison, about Take Your Legislator to School Day, but I do want to extend a special thanks to Delegate Shelley Simons, the representatives from Congressman Scott's office and Delegate Marcia Price's office, City Council members, school board members, and members of the Newport News Education Foundation for their attendance and their continued support. Dozens of our high school students participated in the Contemporary Arts Network Junior Apprenticeship Program 2 weeks ago. This apprenticeship was a great opportunity for our students to work together to create a public art project. Students from each high school painted and decorated a window in City Center that embodies this year's theme, Let It Glow. The window murals were unveiled during the Lights at the Fountain event on December 1st and will be displayed through January. So please, when you're out in City Center, take a look at the amazing artwork that the students from Newport News have done. All schools, this is really important, everybody in the room and those viewing students and parents, All schools and offices will be closed from December 18th through January 1st for winter break. Tuesday, January the 2nd is a teacher planning day. So no students report on that day, but teachers do return on January the 2nd for planning. All students return to school on Wednesday, January the 3rd. And I wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We're at item 6, another opportunity to hear from the public. Are there any cards?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we will move on to our student representative, Aaron.
The second meeting of the Superintendent Student Advisory Group on Education was held last week with students representing all of our high schools. We had a segment where students share what's great about my school, and students from Achievable Dreams and Point Option presented what was unique and special about their respective schools. Our first meeting topic was on rigor in high school curriculum, which was led by Dr. Rogers, our Chief Academic Officer, and the second meeting topic addressed stress and student mental health, which we discussed with Ms. Askew and Ms. Powell from the school's division Student Support and Mental Care Services. We are looking forward to our next meeting, which will be just before our exams in January. Thank you, and I wish everyone have a wonderful winter break.
Thank you. And the board echoes those sentiments. Have a wonderful and restful break. Meeting adjourned.